The state of the mass timber industry, I think, is growing in the Northwest. We definitely have a lot of building officials, we have a lot of practicing professionals, we have some very good forestry groups that have kind of brought all their A games to the table and moved this entire industry forward. What has happened in the mass timber that's possible now is you've had two advancements. One, you've had advancements in the engineered wood products. So a long time ago, we were just using a solid piece of lumber. Now we're taking the material, we're cutting up, we're re-gluing it back together where the strength materials make sense. At that same time frame, we've had advances in manufacturing and computer technology. And so that has allowed us to draw the buildings into a computer model, and that computer model can be handed off to a manufacturer that can actually cut exactly what we draw. The mass timber buildings are really an assembly of a kit of parts, and the kit of parts goes together very, very quickly in the job site, which obviously speeds up construction, which then saves money. There are big companies pursuing the mass timber buildings due to the speed of construction. They are pursuing the mass timber buildings for biophilia. They have found the occupants are much calmer. The occupants are much more productive in mass timber buildings. And we have clients that are trying to be environmentally friendly, and they are choosing to use mass timber as they see that as a displacement for higher polluting materials that they've been using in the past.
So for those that might not have been exposed to the Living Building Challenge before, it is, in a way, if you think about any sustainability metric, like some people might be more familiar with LEED, we call it LEED on steroids. It's the idea of setting benchmarks and goals for a project that really push the envelope as far as you can in several different areas. So we're talking about pursuing net zero energy, net zero water, and in addition it looks very closely at materials.
We've taken this really, really far with solar systems to take our building to net zero energy. We are collecting all of our water on site, we're composting all of our waste. We are meeting the ILFI red list, which has hundreds of chemicals you can't use in the building because they're either bad for people or bad for ecosystems. Things that we have to do because we're going for the Living Building Challenge. If you have a sustainably harvested mass timber building that is all electric, you've eliminated fossil fuels out of your building as the grid gets greener.
What I love about Living Building is it goes beyond that. It encourages design teams to think about equity, to think about beauty, to think about inspiration. And when you combine all of that together, it becomes a very holistic framework and mindset that the team works from to develop a building solution.
For us, wood is this amazing material that comes from nearby that provides such a great opportunity to introduce warmth and beauty and tactile qualities and connection to nature into all aspects of our buildings, whether it's the exterior or the interior cladding or a ceiling. And for me, it becomes a really personal connection to this material that is not only an art material, but also an architectural space-making material, and this resource that I can go out and experience, right from my home. It's a pretty awesome connection to have.
We are literally going to be planting enough trees to replace all of the wood in this building over an 80-year time span. And the building is specifically designed to be a 500-year building. So there will be enough trees growing literally to replace this building 5 times over. And when I think of what we need as a society moving forward, is we need to build things, buildings being one of those things, that are renewable in a sense that over the life of that product or that building, you can renew those resources so that future generations over and over again can do the same thing. And wood is the perfect example of that.
This is an opportunity for us to provide this cross-laminated timber, glue-lam beams, all of this incredible engineered wood that's now coming into an understanding of how to build with a structural component that's so much greater in strength than just a single 2x4. As a small woodland owner, I'm really excited to know that this market will be available for us to sell our wood to for years to come.
The mass timber pollutes less. It's typically 16 times less polluting than concrete. It's 24 times less polluting than steel. And that's how we as architects and engineers can reduce our pollution into the atmosphere by specifying more mass timber buildings.
5-10 years ago, anytime an architect had a discussion about what structural system they were going to use, they only had a couple choices. And with this new kind of arrival of CLT, It's opened things up, and every time we start a project, it's new and exciting, and it's innovative. Every single building that you're going to see built out of CLT now and in the future is going to be slightly different than the last one, and that is phenomenal.